this is my Ratchet and Clank part review. So to start, I've played a couple of Ratchet and Clank games, mainly on the PS2. Haven't finished Ratchet and Clank 2, but I really enjoyed it. And then there's 3, Gladiator, so a bit of experience with it, and then Tools of Destruction as well. So this game's just a really light-hearted adventure. It's about following Ratchet and Clank as they're transported into another dimension and introduces new characters like Rivet and Kit. So we'll start with the graphics first. So since it's a massive step up compared to the previous ones, played at 60 FPS with ray tracing on. Technically it's quite beautiful with very detailed environments and characters with like really detailed textures and reflections as well. The first real planet, as you can probably see here, Coruscant V, it's one of the standouts, so everything's kind of like turned up to 11 here. You've got like the ray trace particles, where you can see the reflections of you and then everything in the background as well. You've got the neon lights everywhere, and then just the densely populated area where you can see ships flying, people walking around, just loads of things. And then as for the other environments, you've got a good variety of them, since you progress from like a cyberpunk city here to like a swamp that focuses more on nature, and then an asteroid station with the vibrant bar and skybox, like a wasteland after that as well. So there's a good mix of areas. The only thing I would say is probably that over time, as you progress through the game, it becomes slightly less detailed, or they don't seem to have as high production values. The environments are smaller, not really as dense. As you can see here, it's kind of the highlight of it, I'd say. And one other thing about the visuals is, since with the SSD, you can see that the environments can completely change just on a quick dime there, so you can pass through dimensional rifts. You know, from normally they're encrypted moments, but you can pass from like city environment straight to like a swamp with dinosaurs around it just in a second almost.
It's too
But
bad.
it's probably one of the first PS5 games that kind of blew me away a bit. Well, like going from a PS4 game to it's quite a big jump. As well as that, you've got other planets too that take advantage of the loading. So you've got I think one of them's called Blazar Prime, where you're constantly switching from the planet when it's destroyed in the present, and then when it's flourishing in a different dimension where there's workers still there mining. It's quite impressive. The only criticism really for that is that it happens at more scripted moments, so that level is not as open as the other ones. It's more linear. You kind of have to. It's just that way you have to progress. You just kind of switch at any point. Like to get to a certain corridor, you might have to switch back to one dimension, and then to enter that new corridor, you have to switch back to your original one. That makes sense. And as well, you can just see how detailed the characters are in cutscenes, and then just walking around as well. You can see the textures and the Clank's eyes, or like the fur on Ratchet. Just all the strands of it. The animations are quite smooth as well. You can see how when Ratchet or Rivet dodge, it leaves almost like a wee trail of themselves just behind them. I mean, song-wise, it was good. There's some decent soundtracks, in particular probably the one, maybe Pocket Dimensions, which were like wee platforming sections. You've got a range of tracks as well on the bar.
I think we're here.
But other than that, yeah, guns sound nice and the voice acting's quite good. But nothing too amazing, but the haptic feedback, the different types of sounds that you see, so if you're in a club you can feel the pulse in your controller as well. It adds just a bit more to it and gives you, using obviously a different sense with it. So for the story, let's move on to that. You just start off with an introduction to Rivet in her own dimension, and of course on V, and then you transition from Rivet to Ratchet who mirror each other, and so it's just like a smooth transition from Rivet's face to Ratchet. And then you can even see how they marry each other since, you know, Rare would be paired with Kit, and Ratchet obviously with Clank. Um, Rivet is grey, like a grey purpley colour, and then Kit's a yellowy colour, which is kind of the reverse of Ratchet and Clank, which Ratchet's like a yellowy colour, Clank's a grey one.
Clank?
And you've got, from there you've got a
Clank?
heartwarming moment where Clank gives Ratchet the Dimensionator to show how
Holodex?
much his friendship means to him. Um, and then from there, you know, Doctor Nefarious shows up, and then the plot continues in Rivet's dimension. So it's quite a simple plot. There's not a lot of complicated time travel or dimensional stuff. Played out quite simply, but yeah, it's just a quite a light-hearted adventure where they're just trying to repair the dimensions and return home, really. And
Looks
then
easy enough.
Doctor Nefarious kind of takes his back seat in this more his alternate dimension itself. Emperor Nefarious, who's the main villain in this. And Doctor Nefarious gives you a good laugh anyway. He's probably one of the funniest characters in the game. He's just a clumsy villain who always ends up plotting, but he always comes up short. He's just fed up with getting beat, basically. As far as Ratchet and are concerned, you know, a lot of people have been kind of criticizing the characters and how they've been toned down a bit from the older games, but I did think they would tease each other a bit more rather than in this game it seems almost like a romance film between them. But what I remember, they used to kind of play down serious moments and always spin each other's nerves. But I do understand I've missed a few games in between. And then over time as well, we've been through quite a number of stories. The characters probably grown and, you know, matured a bit. And like kind of balance it out because we've got Rhoda who kind of feels like the old Ratchet, where she's slightly rougher and less of, you know, a clean cut hero. But then you've got Kid as well, who goes on a bit of a redemption arc. So she starts off as like a warbot, so basically one of the standard enemies in the game. And then she kind of has a moment where she regrets what she's done and tries to, you know, hide away from the world. But she sees that she can still make good on things. So yeah, a lot of the plot is to do with Rivet basically. She's supposed to be her dimension's hero, but she repeatedly gets beat by her dimension's Nefarious. And a lot of the plot it seems to be about
Come on, let's hear it.
people are stronger when they work together or
I
learn
am
from their failures
feeling a bit
instead of, you
responsible
know,
for all of
succeeding
this.
all the time, becoming
Perhaps
stagnant,
it is
which
because
is
of me that the
what
dimensions are
explicitly
falling
said about
apart, and that Ratchet and
Emperor
I are
Nefarious when
lost.
Doctor
Oh,
Nefarious is talking to him
yeah.
later on in the game. Yeah,
Well,
so the only real criticism I
hey,
think
your
is probably it's a bit
communicator's about to get
predictable.
fixed, so that's
I'm
something.
not really sure if you're supposed to know, but you can see
Right.
that pretty early on that Kit's the reason that Robert only has one arm. So yeah, just really to repeat again, it's just like a simple light-hearted plot. Kind of reminds me of their other game that Insomniac made, which was Spider-Man Miles Morales, but I definitely preferred this game to that. Even though that was pretty good too, but this is probably one of the better games I've played in the PS5, or if not, at least the best one that's only came out in PS5 there.
I may have an
And then
idea.
probably to move on to play next. Levels are set up where we've got, I think, 7 or 8 planets. Each planet's quite an open area. As I said earlier, it kind of gets less complicated as it goes on, or a wee bit smaller. Particularly, I think one of them's called Toron 4, and the other one's like a prison planet. It's more, you know, a bit more linear compared to the earlier levels, and a bit less detailed. Yeah, and the gameplay isn't revolutionary, it's more a refinement of the previous games. So, well, main improvements would be with the mobility, I'd say. So you've got a lot more mobility with your new dodge, hollow boots, and wall running, in addition to your classic stuff like slingshot. the hover with the clank the kid on your back, and then the double jump and grinding as well. It's a new thing that's introduced to the game as well. Help you get around a wee bit easier. You like latch onto them and then you just switch position very quickly. As well as that, there can be like dimensional rifts, so as I said earlier, where you transport it from one environment to another. When I'd heard about those dimensional rifts originally, I thought it was kind of going to be like how it was in Titanfall, where you switch from one dimension to another, or one point in time to another, whatever it was in that game. That's not really the case here, but it is all seamless anyway. A lot of the dimensional stuff is more scripted though, so you just can't do it at any point. Generally, it's set up for you. Some of the early options is they are really good, but the issue with it is when you have so many that some of them notify each other. So you've got like hover boots, which make you go a lot faster, and roll bar one to do that. But you still got a sprint, which is L3, and it just seems like there's no real point in using it. It's going to go a lot slower than the hover boots, and the hover boots you still have just as much control. And as always, they've got a wide variety of guns and many crazy functions and weaponry that you've got. So you've got like, for example, you've got like a water sprinkler, and it freezes enemies in like the shape of plants, and then you've got Mr. Fungi, which is a mushroom gun, and you just throw it down and it's like an automated turret that just shoots at people and makes quick. Leveling's good, it's simple. So you just pick nodes around like 3 wee skill points. Once you've filled up all the nodes around those skill points, then you get like a perk for that particular weapon. So for example, for a rocket you fire 2 rockets instead. It also took me far too long to realise that the nodes burn the same shape as the gun that you're leveling up. As well as that, the leveling can take a wee bit as well. Some guns are a bit slower than others to level up. I find that a lot of the automated ones that you just throw down tend to level up quite quickly. So I just said the gameplay was really fun and just enjoyable the whole way through. You don't even have to be too focused on it. The whole game just involves crowd control, so you're constantly throwing down extra bodies to help you. So as I said, the sprinkler and the Mr. Fungi as well. But it doesn't feel overwhelming, whereas in certain parts in the other game, Miles Morales, it maybe felt a wee bit too much. You're just constantly hitting dodge in that game in certain areas. There's so many enemies, and as well there's some sections where there's grind rails as well to just break up the gameplay. It's good for visuals and just to get an overall scope for the level, but sometimes the platforming it's not always telegraphed that well. Sometimes I couldn't really see actually where the end of the rail was and just slipped into death, which wasn't too fun. The game is quite short, but I'd rather play a game that's short and sweet rather than one that just has hundreds of hours of just repeated content that doesn't seem like it has a lot of effort put into it or care. Whereas this one, you can really see that everything that's in it has a purpose and it's you really enjoy. And as well, you can see that plenty of time to make it because the extra bonuses and stuff for you to unlock, and quite a surprising amount. You can change the color of the guns that you have, the camo of the ship you have too, as well as that, picking up a bolt in all these games, but you can even change that to a different thing, like an orb as well. So they've really just added in extra details just to keep it fun. Overall, I really enjoyed it. The only maybe other negative thing about it was the mini boss fights. Fight the same one over and over. Some of the encounters later on do drag on a bit. You feel like at one point I was just thinking to myself how many enemies I killed in the game. That's really it. If it had to, if I ever done a ranking system, I'd put this game quite highly on it at the minute, for at least this generation of games. But yeah, I really enjoyed it though.